Hi everyone. So today I will start with the Maharashtra board uh, poems section number 2. If you look 11th standard Maharashtra board English section number 2 2.1, I'm going to start today. And I want you to please try and read and understand with me. Okay, so definitely it will help you. Nothing is difficult, everything is easy. Nothing is difficult, everything is easy. So if you read and you will definitely understand what I am explaining. So the first is cherry tree. So we can start with the cherry tree. There are some icebreakers are there, like if you read then you will understand that these are the general question, like trees are revered because they gives us joys. Okay, they gives us oxygen, they gives us shelter. You can write like this. Okay, column A shows your involvement in growing a tree as well as the stages of life. So you can write. Okay, now let's come to the poet. Who is the poet? Basically, if I talk about in your board exam in 11th standard also, like you have to write appreciation, and because of writing appreciation, that's the main reason you had given the information in this blue box, and we have to understand it. And this is specifically, there are two paragraphs are given. The first paragraphs are focusing on the poet, and the second paragraph they are talking about what the poem will be. Okay, so the name of the poem is Cherry Tree. We are talking about tree, but that particular tree is a cherry tree. There are number of trees are there, so this particular tree is different cherry tree. Okay, so Ruskin Bond is the poet. Most of the people, and he is born in Kasauli, Himachal Pradesh. So he was born in the state of Himachal Pradesh in 1934. Okay, and Ruskin Bond has written hundreds of short stories. Okay, so Ruskin Bond has written hundreds of short stories. Okay, Ruskin Bond has written hundreds of short stories. So basically, he is from Himachal Pradesh and he born in 1934. And Ruskin Bond had written hundreds of short stories. How many? Hundreds of short stories, essays, novellas, and more than 30 books for children. So he had written the hundreds of short stories, which means a short stories, essays, novellas. Novellas is nothing but it is little bit bigger than the story. Okay, and if I talk about the the room on the roof, written when he was 17. When he was 17. Okay, so room on the roof. So he had written when he was 17 years. The room on the roof, and and he received the Memorial Prize, the John Llewellyn Rice Memorial Prize in 1957, and he has also published two volumes of autobiography, and he has also published the autobiography of himself, The Scene from the Writer Life. Is lit. The lamp is lit. A collection of essays, and he has published an autobiography of himself, and then a collection of essays episodes for his journal. In 1992, he received a Sahitya Academy Award for English writing in India, and he was awarded the Padam Shri in 1999. And Ruskin Bond lives with his adopted family in Mussoorie, Uttarakhand. So which means that we can say that he is from Himachal Pradesh, and he got the awards. He had written the autobiography, and he has the collection of essays and short stories, and he lives with his adopted family in Uttarakhand. Okay, can we move ahead? The poem Cherry Tree is about the poet ecstasy or a tree over a tree. So the poet Cherry Tree is the poet ecstasy. Ecstasy means what? Ecstasy is nothing but we have a desire on a particular thing, a particular we are excitement. If you look at the children have a ecstasy on their doll, the children have their ecstasy on their particular thing. If you give the children anything, so they will have a ecstasy on that particular chocolate or anything, right? So the poem Cherry Tree is about the poet ecstasy over a tree which he planted that took 8 years to grow. Clear? So he's explain. So in this poem we will try and understand. We will understand about the poet ecstasy over a tree which that particular tree takes 8 years to grow. Okay, and he is expressing his wonder at the ways of nature and how the cherry blossom are fragile and quick to fall. So in this poem we will try and understand how the poet is expressing his ways of nature, and how this particular cherry blossoms are fragile and it is going to fall. The trees gives him immense joy as he can see the stars and blue sky through the triple green trees. So he is explaining this particular cherry tree gives us immense level of immense joy, which means the next level of joy. And as as he can see the stars through through his tree. Okay, through his tree. So in short, I can say that this poem is all about the poet, how the poet is expressing about his uh, towards his tree. Okay, one by one. It's very easy, right, to understand. And then cherry tree. 8 years have passed. How many years have passed? 8 years have passed now, right? Since I placed my cherry seed in the grass. So the poet is saying that I had placed the seed of the cherry, okay, 8 years ago, and now the 8 years passed. In the grass he had put it. Must have a tree of my own. So then poet said to him, I have must have a tree of my own, because I had placed the seed on in the grass and watered it once and went to bed and forgot. But cherries have a way of growing. So the poet is saying that the 8 years have already passed, and 8 years ago I had placed the trees. So there is a chances there is this tree had grown, and he had, and 8 years what he had did, he had watered it, he had went to bed, he had watered it, he had went in the forgot. But cherries have a way of growing. The cherries have a different way of growing, though no one's caring very much or knowing. So the poet is saying no one is know about how the cherry is growing, and no one is care about it, and no one's know how they grow. And suddenly that summer near the end of May, and the poet is saying, and suddenly there was a end of May, I found a tree had come to stay. Okay, So the poet is saying that suddenly in one summer I found a tree had come to stay. Had come to stay. It was a very small 5 months child. So then a poet is explaining in this storyline. Suddenly, in the month of May, after the 8 years, there was a 5 month child I saw. 5 month child, which means the cherry. He is talking about cherry only. And lost in the tall grass running wild. So there was a and that particular cherry has lost in the tall grass. Okay, tall grass running wild. The goats ate the leaves. Okay, the goats had already ate the leaves. The grass cutter, the scythe, the scythe cutter, the scythe a tool, and this is the tool a curved blade right angle. Okay, the grass cutter split it apart, and the monsoon blade, and the monsoon causing damage, and dried the slender slam. So now the poet is explaining about the surrounding of that particular tree. This cherry tree, the grass is ate by the goat, and the and with the cutter, the grass are apart, and because of monsoon it is damaged, and the stems are also dried. And even so, even so, next spring I watch three new shoots grow. Okay, and even so, after the winter, okay, the next three new shoots, which means the new cherry, had formed. The young tree struggle. The young tree next three shoots grow. The young tree struggle upward first. The young three shoots, which means three cherry tree. The young tree, the young one is struggle upward thrust, which one pushed with force. Upward thrust means the young tree was pushing and growing in a struggling way. Its arm in a fresh, fierce lust. So its arm, which means it leaves the hands of the trees are actually aggressively growing the young one. So the poet is explaining about how the trees are growing for light and air and sun. For light and air and sun, I could only wait as one who was wandering. For light and air and sun, for light and air and sun, I could only wait as one who watched wandering. Okay, so for the light and for air and sun, I could only wait as one who watched wandering, while the time and the rain made a miracle for a green growing pin. So the from this fourth line we can understand that the poet is explaining that he could just only wait. Okay, because everything was damaged, so the new plants were growing. So I can only wait from the environment. Environment will work. Environment will do a miracle of this green growing pain. I went away next year. Okay, I went away from there. Okay, next year spent a season in Kashmir and came back. So I went away. The poet is saying I went away from my house and I went in Kashmir, and came back. And when I came back from Kashmir, the thinner and the thinner, rather poor, but richer by a but richer by a cherry tree at my door. So the poet is explaining, when I went away from my house, and when I came back after a year, I saw the tree was a thinner, but there was a tree at my door, 6 feet high, my own dark cherry, 6 feet high, my own dark cherry. How many feet? 6 feet high, my own dark cherry. Okay, so the tree was too long, and 6 feet high. My own dark cherry, and I could scarcely believe it a berry. So when I saw that there was a cherry 6 feet high, and I could very scarcely believe. Okay, and ripened and jeweled in the sun. Poet is explaining how the cherry was looking. The cherry was ripened. The cherry was jewel in the sun. Jewel, which means looking like a diamond, and it is hung from a branch, just one. And that cherry was hung from the branch, just one. And next year there were blossom, a small. And next year there were and and next year there were flowers that blooms on trees. And the next year there was blossom, small pink. And next year there was a small pink, fragile, quick to fall. And at the merest breath breathe the sleepiest breeze. So the author is explaining, in the next year the trees are giving the cherry. I lay on the grass at ease, and then the poet was laying down in the grass and very easily, and looking up through the leaves at the blue blind sky. So there was a sky. So the poet says that I was laying in the grass leaves, and I was looking a sky through my tree, and finches as they flew at the finches as they flew, and they flitted through the dapple green. Okay, while bees in an ecstasy drank. The bees are very happy of nectar. Nectar means, you can see, the sweet liquid produced by a flower. From each bloom and the sun sang. The swiftly and the star turned in the sky. And swiftly the star turned in the sky, and the moons and singing crickets, and I praise the night and stars and trees that small the cherry grown by me. So the poet is explaining in this line, he was very happy. He was very happy. Right? He was very happy. He was okay. So I am stopping here. So basically, the central theme of this poem will be he is expressing his views. He was very happy for his cherry tree. Okay, the poet is Ruskin Bond. The name of the poem is Cherry Tree. So you can find the rhyming scheme. You can see the okay, the sad, bad, growing, knowing, may stay, child, while, so many things. The sun, one, rain, pain. So these are the rhyming scheme. Okay, I'm stopping here now.